Hello Aries, how are you? Welcome to your September reading. Sorry I missed you all for the full moon in Pisces. There goes the lighting. But we can still see what's coming up for you all and what to take away from the full moon. And also just what's to see for you all in general for this month. So let's get right into the reading. So messages for Aries for September 2017. Messages for Aries for September 2017. Let's see. And the feelings that are kind of coming up for me are like confused or kind of just like not really feeling the need to take any kind of direction at the moment, like not really wanting to make any kind of moves, but being okay with that, being like, I'm actually okay with seeing how things are gonna sort of turn out right now. Like there's some kind of patience. Yeah, there's definitely the first card out is strength. So a lot of you feeling very very strong in your Aries power, very self-assertive at the moment. Some of you also feeling as though you need to call upon inner strength. A lot of you feeling as though like strength is something that you need. Strength is something that you need to sort of bring forth at the moment. But I'm definitely picking up that, you know, strength and inner power. I'm getting a lot of like inner power and inner, you know, your inner reserves of strength and power sort of coming into question with this card. And some of you feeling really secure and good about where you stand in your power. And some of you feeling very insecure about where you stand with your power. So let's see what else is coming up. And let's see where the reading kind of wants to take us, where the cards want to take us. But Knight of Wands. So, and then, you know, these cards fell out. We had the King of Wands. You know, if they want to come back out, they'll come back out. But we had the Knight of Wands here. So, yeah, a lot of you definitely feeling incredibly, and that makes a lot of sense because Mercury has just left retrograde and it's back in Virgo. Mars and Mercury are going to be meeting up in Virgo. I believe, I don't remember the exact date, somewhere around the 13th. Don't quote me on that. I will look it up and then try and put it in the description box below for you all. But Mars and Mercury are definitely meeting up this month in the sign of Virgo, in your 6th house. So, you know, definitely feeling very motivated and feeling very sort of agile, right? Like this Knight of Wands to me is a great card to depict or to kind of, you know, really, what's the word that I'm looking for? To depict or to represent that merging of, for me, Mars and Mercury, right? Mars being very much about self-assertion and action and charging forward and ahead. And Mercury is a very, very quick, you know, Gemini is very quick-witted, agile, you know, able to sort of dissect information. And with Mars being with Mercury, you know, there's this ability to really dissect information and put it into practical use, especially for you know, you all with having this action happening in your 6th house, right? Your house of you know, day-to-day activity, your house of you know, your self-discipline, how the things that you do on a daily basis just to kind of get things done, right? And there's a lot that's getting done when we have Mars in Virgo, especially when it's meeting up with Mercury, because now we have the ability to dissect information that's being given to us and capable, now we're able to kind of put it into action. So let's see what else is going on with Aries. And, you know, lately, I think I've shared this before. I shared this in the past couple of months that I've been doing readings. But, you know, I've definitely been trying to really, really harness and like bring out my own inner Aries, you know, and bring out my own. I don't have a lot of Aries per se. Like, I don't have any planets in Aries. Aries is in my 4th house. So when I do interact with other Aries, there is this tendency to sort of feel like I'm being mothered by them, or that I feel very protected, I guess I could say, by Aries, especially Aries women, who I end up becoming friends with. I end up feeling very sort of protected by them, right? And so we also have this Queen of Pentacles that just popped out. And then I also feel that with Aries in my 4th house, I will be a very protective and sort of might, be the leader, take charge in the family once I begin to establish my own family. But we have the Queen of Pentacles here, right? And the Queen of Pentacles, she's, there's something of value that she's really observing and that she's really looking at. And it's like in conjunction, right, with this Knight of Wands, definitely seeing that while there is this desire to sort of move forward with things, or recognizing, the value of an idea that you may have, or, the spark, passion, things that, there are passionate things that are happening around you, right? But with these 2 cards, I feel like these 2 cards are anchoring this passion, right? Because Aries can be a bit impulsive, can be a bit quick to judge, a bit quick to sort of take action in areas where they actually just need to kind of sit still. And so when we're with Mars being in Virgo, Mars being your ruling sign, right, and being in Virgo, which Virgo, is very meticulous and is very thorough. Virgo does not waste their energy. Virgo does not waste their time. Virgo does not, Virgo will play it safe if need be, right? Virgo, earth signs in general are patient, right? And so having your ruling planet in an earth sign, right? Just this need for not only patience, but this need to, the Strength card and this Queen of Pentacles, they're both looking, right, at these objects, this lion and this pentacle, and they're handling both of these objects, right? I don't want to call a lion an object, but I'm going to call it an object for the sake of, the reading. They're observing these objects with care, tender care, and, great observation, incredibly observant of what is this thing that I'm holding, right? And so I feel like while there is, this great passion, there is this sort of spark of creativity, inspiration, whatever is going on, whatever this represents. It could be a new person, it could be another fire sign or a fiery energy that's coming into your life that you're either romantically interested in. It could be a new job, it could be a creative project, it could be an art project, it could be a number of things, right? But there's something that a lot of you are very, very feeling incredibly strongly about and wanting to move forward on. And the Knight of Wands sometimes can be a bit hasty. As I've mentioned before, Aries can be a bit hasty, right? And especially with having Mercury backing up Mars, right, as the month continues, right, having that Mars-Mercury, those Mars-Mercury interactions, there could definitely be, the intellect also being stimulated, and the intellect also wanting to move forward on things and ideas that you've had that, normally you wouldn't really want to act on, but now it's like, oh, now I have to act on these ideas that I have. And I feel like these 2 cards are anchoring you. I feel like these 2 cards are really asking you to observe, one, do you have the capacity to finish what you're going to start, right? That's the one question. And the other question, it's, and have you really thought about the value and the worth of your idea enough, right? Because sometimes we have ideas and we just want to get the ideas out there, but we don't really stop to reflect on really teasing out, right, the idea and being meticulous about it and being thorough with it and really asking ourselves, well, what does this really have to offer, The Queen of Pentacles, she is, she's not easily swayed, right? She's an earth sign. She's not easily swayed. And so you know, and this could also represent a person, an earth sign in your life, right? This doesn't have to just represent Virgo season as it is, but it could represent an actual Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, an earthy person, a person who's grounding you and who's forcing you to sort of be a little bit more vigilant about looking at the details, right? Looking at, you know, the details of what it is that the Knight of Wands is trying to carry forth into the world. So let's see what else is going on. Sorry for that long explanation of these, you know, 3 cards, but we're gonna get more cards going here. Yeah. So, okay, let's keep going because I don't want to spend, you know, 15 minutes per card and then it's like an hour later and I still haven't gotten to the point. That kind of felt manipulated. Although it is the Hanged Man, right? And the way that I sort of shuffle is that cards will fall, and if I feel that they need to be in the spread, they'll be in the spread. And you know, if I'm not really feeling guided towards that, then I'll put it back in the deck and give it another opportunity to sort of present itself. Any other messages for Aries for September 2017? Okay. 8 of Swords. So, all right. Sorry, something just, I think a penny just dropped on the floor. Ace of Cups. So possibly some blockages to some new emotional beginnings. I think there's, you know, a little bit of blocks to getting to this Ace of Cups as well for some of you. But, you know, the great thing about the 8 of Swords for me is that I always remember that it's a self-imposed prison, right? It's not a prison that anybody is really forcing me to be in besides my own self and my own thoughts. And, you know, I do feel that this 4 of Cups has something to do with it, right? Is you know, sometimes for Aries, you know, if it's not the best, it's not enough, right? If I'm not the best, I'm not enough. If I'm not number one, right? It's always a competition, right? When we're dealing with that first sign, that first house, in that first sign, you all are the first sign of the zodiac, right? So y'all come out the gate running, and you know the competition is fierce with Aries. You know, if you're gonna compete with an Aries, you better know what you're doing, and don't ever underestimate your opponent if they're an Aries. You know, but sometimes, you know, when we're constantly competing or when we're constantly in this space of this is not good enough, right? Even if it's handed to you by God, you know, him or herself, right? Like even if this offer is given to you by source, right? There still is this tendency to really want to conquer things or to not really want to accept them if they're not the best. And in this energy, in this 4 of Cups energy of things not being good enough, and a lot of signs, I've done a lot of readings for people in general lately, and this card has been coming up a lot. And I think this also speaks to, you know, Virgo season, where Virgo is incredibly, you know, Virgo, I have a lot of friends who have Mars and Virgo, and I really think that that's an awesome placement. If you have Mars and Virgo, it's great because, you know, Virgo is about getting shit done. Let's get things done. Let's, you know, forget, you know, leisure, forget, you know, wanting to, we've had fun. It's now time to be responsible. We've had fun in Leo. Leo is all about being, you know, center of attention and having fun. And, you know, not getting a lot of work done per se, or, you know, being powerful, standing out in the crowd, things of that nature. And then Virgo says, it's time for us to instill some humility, right? So when you have a Mars and Virgo, things are done with humility. Things are done, with a sense of responsibility and service, right, to others. And that these things must get done because it's just what needs to happen, right? So when we have a Mars in Virgo, it can be a great thing, but on the shadow side of that, then we end up, there's this saying that, there's not a saying, but there's this sort of sentiment about perfectionism that when dealing with perfectionism, sometimes you'll end up not doing anything at all in fear of it not being perfect, right? So this card for me could also represent holding back maybe on taking an opportunity, on taking a risk, or on putting oneself out there, right? This person has their arms crossed. They're very resistant to being open. They're resistant to change. They want the cups lined up as they are. They're resistant to anything sort of coming in and, disrupting whatever system, whatever these three cups represent, whatever system this may represent, right? Whatever likes or dislikes or preferences this may represent, there's a resistance towards accepting change. And sometimes when we're in our desire for perfection, we end up sort of sitting here. And there's resistance to we don't go anywhere because there's so much resistance just in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits, that we don't get anything done. Nothing gets done, right? Nothing is, nothing gets accomplished because, there's this fear that, well, I'm not going to do it unless I can do it perfectly. Well, chances are you're not going to do it perfectly, so you're just not going to do it at all. So now you're just sitting here stuck, and you have all these cups around you, but you can't even reach out to what you've got, and you can't even reach out to what's being offered. So, and then, inevitably, the feeling increases, right? To where this person, has control to unfold their arms, and it grows and it develops into eventually not having, right? Like now you feel like you're not in control, right? And so going backwards, we had this Three of Wands here, and sorry if I'm jumping around, I'm trying to tie all of this together, but I'm definitely feeling that that there's something that you all are really trying to push forward and assert in the world, and I feel that it's a creative idea. Let's get more clarity on what this Knight of Wands may represent for some of you. Let's get a couple of ideas of what this Knight of Wands could mean, right? So, can I get clarity on this Knight of Wands? Can I get clarification on the Knight of Wands? What does this Knight of Wands represent? Okay, so we have a couple of, so there's some financial, some of you are traveling, some of you are being offered leadership positions. So, there is, the Four of Pentacles, right? There is an opportunity to really, to grow financially and to, possibly create resources that you may not have had before. And, when we enter into having resources that we haven't really had previously in our lives, right? There is this sort of, you either tend to go one of two ways, right? In talking about extremes, right? You either spend all of it and you live the life that you've always wanted to live, and it's lavish and it's luxurious, or you kind of go in the opposite direction, which is what I feel like I would personally do, and just hold on as tightly as you could, right, to all of those resources, right? So there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity, a fast approaching opportunity to sort of have the things that you've never had before financially, right? And you can see that. And even just in the idea of being able to utilize whatever this idea is to generate income that you haven't been able to generate before, that can create a lot of, that can create, I don't want want to say panic, but definitely a strong desire to want to get things done and put things out there to the point where we're not really thinking, right, about how we're going to go about doing it. We just want to see the end result, right? So a lot of you wanting to see the end result. I think some of you definitely have travel on the horizon. I don't know. I picked this card out. When I picked this card up, I heard travel and I saw travel. The world, right? Traveling the world. I see opportunities for traveling. I see opportunities for, you know, really taking on leadership positions at work, which a lot, this is you. The Emperor is Aries, right? So I see a lot of you being able to kind of elevate or develop from this Knight of Wands to this Emperor, right? You know, being able to take on leadership positions at work, being able to take on leadership positions, you know, in an organization that you're a part of. There's something in your life that you are being offered an opportunity to take the reins over and to have, and to take charge. You have the opportunity to take charge, at the moment, in a certain situation. And the Emperor is there to let you know that it's not just a small time. It's not a king, it's the Emperor. The Emperor is the king of all kings, right? So it's, you know, maybe you're the top level executive, right? Or what, you know, you're the manager of the managers, right, at your job. And so there's some opportunities that are being offered for you. But like I said before, these two cards are really grounding you. These two cards are really asking you to think about, can you accept whatever responsibility, right, comes forth when we enter into having this kind of freedom and power, right? Because I see freedom and power here. I see financial growth and power. I see freedom through travel. I see power in, you know, being able to be a leader of some sort. And that takes a lot of strength and responsibility. You know, and Virgo really wants us to look at the devil in the details and really wants us to observe, are we being self-disciplined? Earth signs are also very much about self-discipline, especially Virgo and Capricorn, right? Taurus can be a little bit more lax. And I know because my Mars is in Taurus, so sometimes I can get a little bit lax about things. I'll get things done slowly but surely, but there's a little bit more of a lax, you know, ness when we have Taurus in Mars. But when we have Virgo in Mars, especially meeting up with Mercury, there needs to be a lot of teasing out. Yes, there is this strong desire to move forward, but there has to be a lot of teasing out of what it is that you're trying to do. And now we have this Three of Wands, so I feel like this is you all. And, you know, you're taking the hints from the universe and you're waiting. You're being patient, right? There is this sense of anticipation. There is this sense of, okay, you know, I get it. I hear the universe loud and clear. You know, I have my wands with me. I have all of these ideas, and you know, I'm waiting for my ships to return, right? Maybe you possibly have been communicating with people regarding what these wands represent for you, what ideas these represent, what all this stuff represents for you, and you're waiting to hear back, right? You're waiting to hear a return on what's the next step. Do I plant these wands, or do I just continue to kind of trek along with them, or do I just sit and wait patiently with them? So I feel that a lot of you are also kind of, you know, you're allowing yourselves to be grounded, right, by the Strength card and the Queen of Pentacles. You're allowing yourselves to be grounded in this Virgo season. You're allowing yourselves to really be like, okay, like, Virgo season is, yes, about getting things done, but getting things done with a purpose, right? We don't just get things done to get things done. We get things done because they serve a purpose. And that purpose, you know, yes, serves us, but also serves other people, right? And Aries, y'all can, being the first sign and being in that first house, you know, your relationship to yourself is incredibly strong. And I've observed this in a lot of Aries, and especially me being a Cancer moon, I'm very sensitive to this. I'm very sensitive when people are incredibly are incredibly hell-bent or incredibly well at self-preserving to the point of almost kind of being selfish, right? And sometimes Aries, when gone unchecked in the shadow self, can be a very selfish and self-important sign, right? As can all the fire signs, really. Can representing the sun, right? Sun being ego and self. All the fire signs have a capacity to get kind of out of hand with the ego from time to time. But I think with Aries especially, there is this me first, or, you know, I look out for me and me only kind of attitude. That, you know, Virgo also challenges us, you know, Virgo, Capricorn really challenge us to look at not only our responsibilities to ourselves, but how do we sacrifice for others, right? How do we, you know, what do we do in the name of sacrificing and responsibility to others, right? And so, you know, this Four of Cups card here, I think, let's get clarification on it. Can I get clarification on this Four of Cups card, please? Okay, you want to come out. So yeah, I do feel that there's stuff trying to come in. I'm trying to build the connection. Like, what's the connection? So there are messages. There's Eight of Wands here, right? So there's stuff that's trying to come in, you know, but I feel that it's other people. I feel that it's other ideas. I feel that people want to collaborate with you. I feel that people want to, like, I feel that each of these wands represents another person's sort of idea or creative spark or inspiration, you know, or desire to communicate with you about your own. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are recognizing the value of your wand, right? They're recognizing, wow, this Aries has this awesome wand, and, you know, it's kind of multiplying, right? Like this, you have all of these wands, right? You have these three wands, and, you know, you have all of these ideas. And, you know, when the Queen of Pentacles always shows up, it means that there's something of great value, right, that she's observing. There's something of great worthiness that is being held by this queen. And so I feel that these wands represent other people trying to reach out to you and to communicate with you. It's almost as if you sent these messages out and now you're finally getting a return. I feel that, you know, your patience pays off. Your patience, you were being very patient here, right? Like this card, to me, this person isn't rushing. Yes, he's looking out, and you can kind of sense, you know, a bit of anxiousness, but for the most part, he's not allowing that anxiousness to sort of override him, and he's not acting on it. Which, good job, Aries, good job, right? Like, you know, just don't be impulsive, sit back and be patient, because I do see it paying off. I see it paying off. I see your groundedness paying off. And I see this Eight of Wands as being, like I said before, a bunch of other people trying to come in and work with you and collaborate with you. But for some reason, I don't know, I still feel that y'all are like, no, I'm not, you know, like, let's not get too cocky now. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you have a great idea, but these ideas could potentially be just as good or even better, or really supplement whatever it is that you have going on, right? And that's the thing with Aries, is that, you know, you don't have to always be the best. I know that you think that you do, but you don't. You don't have to always be the best. It's okay if somebody has an idea that might challenge yours, right? Or might not be that, you know, and this may not apply to all Aries. Again, this is a general reading, so this may not apply to everybody. You know, and if this reading doesn't apply to you, there are thousands and probably millions of other readings just for Aries out there for the month of September and for the year. So you can go and check those out. But for those of you who this is applying to, you know, like, you have a great idea, but, you know, that idea you can't grow and develop, and that idea can't really evolve, you know, until you really sort of match it up against, or not match it up against, it's the wrong, that's the wrong word, or wrong phrase, until you allow yourself to kind of collaborate and share with others, right? But I'm definitely seeing sort of like this desire to not really want to do that, and to not really want to sort of allow whatever these wands represent in, right? And again, if this represents a relationship, right? I feel like sometimes, you know, in the context of a relationship, that sometimes when we're here, right, and we're waiting for somebody to kind of show up, or we're waiting, you know, the ego is very tricky, right? Because the ego will have us standing here, bruised, right? The ego will have us being like, oh, well, when are they gonna, like, where are they? And when are they gonna message me back? Or when are they gonna get back to me? And then the ego, in the same term, when we finally get what we want, the ego will be like, oh, I don't really care anymore. I don't care. I don't care anymore. It's amazing, right? Like how we want what we can't have, and what we can have, we absolutely could give two shits about. We give zero fucks about, right? And it could be the same person. The same person who doesn't want you, then suddenly they want you, and you go up and down with them, right? It's not just them that goes up and down. You go up and down too, right? It's a two-way street. So if this represents a relationship for you, right, where, you know, where there is this desire to really move forward with a relationship with a person, with what I'm really feeling to be an earth sign or a fire sign, because we have strength and the Knight of Wands here. But again, it's like your passions are being tempered, right, by Virgo season, you know, by Mercury having just gone retrograde and is now going direct, right? So there's a lot of reflecting and really sort of, there's some grounding elements, right? And we have Mars in an earth sign, right? We have your sign in Virgo, which is a very grounding, meticulous, thorough sign that will be like, what the fuck are you doing? We need to think about this before we go ahead. You know what I mean? And I was raised by Virgos. Both of my parents are Virgos, so I know this energy like the back of my hand. And I have come to adopt it a lot too, in my own sort of navigating of life. And I've rebelled against it a lot, being an Aquarius, like, and having two parents that were always like, what are you doing? I've come, you know, there was like part of me that just want to rebel. But now being older, I see the value, right, in these energies here, especially in this energy. And, you know, so this represents a relationship. Yeah, I definitely feel that there was a period of time where you were kind of like, all right, I'm just going to kind of sit back and let this person kind of come to me. And maybe it tipped, you know, too far, right? This period kind of maybe went on for too long, in your opinion, right? This period of time, there's only a grace period. There's only a small window of time where an Aries is actually going to sort of do this for you or for somebody else, right? Like an Aries isn't going to sit here all day. There's going to come a point where an Aries is going to wait here, and then they're going to be like, all right, fuck this shit. I'm out of here, right? And now it's like, oh, you want it? Oh, well, I'm not, you know. But I feel what the cards are saying, and we have the Ten of Swords on the bottom, and my eye kept kind of drifting over towards it as I was talking. But this Ten of Swords to me represents, you know, cycles, behavioral patterns, thought processes that really drain us, right? And in addition to that, we have this Eight of Swords. And definitely feeling that, you know, this to me can be a big card about ego, right? And how the ego thinks that it knows best, even better than the hand of God, right? Like the ego of this person thinks that they know better than source basically handing them an opportunity, which is what I believe to be their destiny, right? or what I believe to be in their highest good. But for whatever reason, they think that they know better, but then we kind of, the ego also, as good as the ego can make us feel, the ego can also trap us in our own shit, right? In our own rumination, in our own blockages. And I definitely feel that there's a blockage, right? There's some kind of blockage happening as a result of sort of engaging in this, you know, I'm now going to play it cool and act like I don't care about you, even though you're finally giving me the attention that I've been patiently waiting for, right? That I really wanted to go forward with and give you, but I was patient. I decided to kind of patiently wait because I dig you like that, and you're the only person that's going to get me to wait, right? Or get me to be a little bit patient, right? Because Aries is patient really for nobody. And now we're in this energy, but it's not, it's self-imprisonment, right? And we just had that full moon in Pisces, which, you know, Pisces is in your 12th house, right? And the 12th house representing our subconscious, the ways in which we imprison ourselves, right? The ways in which we suffer mentally and spiritually, what we kind of put ourselves through mentally and spiritually regarding, you know, our suffering. You know, imprisonment, it can represent actual prisons, and it can also represent mental, subconscious, and conscious prisons that we put ourselves in, like addiction patterns, addiction, mental illness, things of that nature, right? That, you know, that imprison us in a different way. The things that we cannot see, but are very, very real in our lives, right? And so I feel that this 8 of Swords really is about that full moon in Pisces, asking you to look at what needs to come to an end in the way in which I imprison myself, especially regarding possibly my relationships, my emotional relationships. Do I allow myself to be emotionally vulnerable? Right? And so is there anything else for Aries for September 2017? Any other messages for Aries for September 20? So now we have this 2 of Wands, right? But I feel that this 2 of Wands this 2 of Wands has direction. So, you know, this 2 of Wands, unlike this Knight of Wands and the 2 of Wands, kind of similar energies for me. This desire to go out and move forward. But this 2 of Wands is mindful. This 2 of Wands is, you know, recognizes, you know, what they still have behind them. You know, and recognizes what they have before them. And the 2 of Wands is, you know, is a card for me of somebody who has actually really thought about and planned out where they're trying to move forward to. So I see a lot of you, you know, utilizing that Mars and Mercury energy and really teasing out what will and will not work for you in terms of moving forward, in terms of, you know, taking action with your plans, and being very cautious and conscious of like where it is that you're trying to move forward to, and also being very aware of what you still have behind you, right? Not being so quick to like destroy the past, not being so quick to, you know, disregard this wand. Because that's another thing that Aries can sometimes do, is that you move on to the next thing, and the previous thing is just kind of forgotten, right? But this is asking you to kind of remember, don't forget where you came from, essentially. So can I get an outcome card for Aries for September 2017? Outcome for Aries for September. Okay. 2 of Swords. So, you know, and so I see these 2 energies kind of carrying on into October, right? You know, so while this, like I mentioned before, while this 2 of Wands has thought about things, they're still not moving forward yet, right? So I still see you all with this Two of Swords sort of being in this place of I have different options and I'm weighing them, right? Like I'm literally, like she's literally weighing her options on her shoulders. So I still see a lot of you, you know, taking into consideration some, you know, different pathways that you can take. Regarding a romantic situation, I don't really see you all sort of taking, I don't see you all, you know, choosing, or I don't really see you all sort of deciding to move forward with anybody or to, you know, I don't see the situation, right, kind of resolving itself quite yet. I see, you know, a stalemate for the time being, whether it's out of stubbornness or just really wanting to take your time to navigate, right, what these swords represent for you in this, you know, in this Eight of Swords. Like, what is it? What are these patterns that you continue to engage in, right, when it comes to your relationships? Go for it. You know, just reflect on that for a little bit. But I do see some of y'all still sort of weighing your options and being a lot more at peace with just sort of sitting still for the moment. So that is your reading, Aries, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like a personal reading with me, you can contact me at tattoosandtarot@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, which is tattoosandtarot.com, and go to the reading section. And if you've purchased a reading with me recently, please send me an email so that we can set up a time and a date to actually do the reading, because the way that PayPal works is that if you purchase a reading from me, you have to also email me. And I mentioned that in my website, but please email me, because I cannot, the way that PayPal operates is that I can't contact buyers for security purposes and to keep your guys' information safe. So if you've bought a reading from me, please send me an email so we can make plans to set up a time and a date to do the reading. And thank you so much, and I will see you all in October. All right, bye, Aries.